Devon still thought losing the game was the worst thing that could happen until the halftime show. Suddenly, his number, 75, was everywhere, and the tears streaming down his face weren't about football anymore. The roar of the Gillette Stadium crowd was a dull thrum in Devon Still's ears. He was on the field, but his mind was miles away, in a sterile hospital room, holding his 4-year-old daughter's hand. He lined up, trying to focus on the Patriots quarterback, Tom Brady, a legend he both respected and, in this moment, intensely disliked. Focus, Devon, focus. But the play was a blur. He missed a tackle. Again, the Bengals were getting crushed. It wasn't just the game. It was everything. Leah, his beautiful, brave Leah, battling neuroblastoma, a rare and aggressive childhood cancer. The diagnosis, a few months ago, had shattered their world. Images flickered behind his eyes, Leah's tiny body hooked up to IVs, her bald head, her surprisingly bright smile even through the pain. He saw Joyce, his fiancée, her face etched with worry, her strength a constant source of amazement and guilt. He should be stronger. He should be the one fighting. Their wedding, planned for months, was postponed. She needs to be our flower girl, Devon, Joyce had said, her voice thick with tears, but her eyes resolute. He'd agreed instantly. Leah had to be there. It was a promise, a beacon of hope in the overwhelming darkness. Before the game, they'd FaceTimed. Leah, weak but cheerful, had blown him a kiss. "When, Daddy?" she'd whispered. He'd choked back tears, promising he would. The first half was a disaster. The Patriots were relentless. Devon felt every hit, every missed tackle, not just as a player, but as a father failing to keep his promise. He felt the weight of his number 75 jersey, a symbol of his team, but tonight, it felt like a symbol of his inadequacy. He was losing, on the field and in life. As he trudged off the field for halftime, head down, he barely registered the start of the halftime show. The music was loud, upbeat, the usual spectacle. He just wanted to disappear. Then, something shifted. The crowd noise changed. It wasn't just cheering. It was a wave of something else. Confusion? He looked up. The Patriots cheerleaders were in their usual formation, their energy infectious. But their routine was off. They were going through the motions, but there was a deliberate, almost hesitant quality to their movements. And then, it happened. Time seemed to slow. The music swelled. The cheerleaders, in perfect unison, reached for their tops. Devon's heart pounded. This wasn't their usual routine. They ripped off their outer layers, revealing Bengals jerseys, orange and black, a stark contrast to the Patriots' red, white, and blue. Devon's breath hitched. He squinted, trying to understand. And then he saw it. The numbers. Every single cheerleader was wearing his number. 75, 75, 75. A sea of 75s, swaying, dancing, a silent, powerful message. His vision blurred. He felt a hot tear track down his cheek, then another. He wasn't crying for the game. He was crying for Leah, for Joyce, for the overwhelming, unexpected wave of support washing over him. He wasn't alone. The stadium, which moments before had been a cauldron of hostile noise, was now filled with a different kind of energy. Applause rippled through the stands, even from Patriots fans. He saw his teammates on the sideline, their faces mirroring his own shock and emotion. Some were clapping, others were simply staring, mouths agape. He caught a glimpse of the TV commentators, their usual banter replaced with hushed, odd tones. The scene before him transported. Suddenly, he wasn't on a football field. He was back in that sterile hospital room. The beeping of machines, the smell of antiseptic, the fear, it all came flooding back. Leah's diagnosis had been a gut punch. The doctor's words, neuroblastoma, stage 4, aggressive, had echoed in his ears, hollow and terrifying. He remembered holding Joyce, both of them shaking, unable to process the enormity of it all. Then came the treatment. The endless rounds of chemotherapy, the radiation, the surgeries. Leah, his little warrior, endured it all with a resilience that humbled him. He remembered the day she lost her hair. She looked in the mirror, her eyes wide, and then she'd giggled. "I look like Daddy," she'd said, touching his own shaved head. He'd laughed, a choked, watery laugh, his heart breaking and soaring at the same time. Joyce was his rock. She researched treatments, advocated for Leah, and somehow managed to keep their family afloat. They leaned on each other, their love a lifeline in the storm. The decision to postpone the wedding had been agonizing, but necessary. They'd sat on Leah's hospital bed, holding her hands, and explained it to her. She'd nodded, her eyes wise beyond her years. "I want to be better for your wedding, Mommy and Daddy," she'd said. Devon found strength he didn't know he possessed. He juggled his football career with countless hospital visits, late-night feedings, and early morning prayers. He started using his platform to raise awareness about childhood cancer, sharing Leah's story, hoping to make a difference. He was tired, emotionally drained, but he refused to give up. Back on the field, the tears were still flowing, but they were different now. They were tears of gratitude, of hope, of a profound sense of connection. He felt a surge of energy, a renewed determination. He wasn't just playing for himself anymore. He was playing for Leah, for every child battling cancer, for every family fighting alongside them. The second half was still tough. The Bengals didn't win, but Devon played with a fire he hadn't felt in months. He made tackles, he pushed himself, he left everything he had on the field. He even saw a couple of Patriots players offer him nods of respect. After the game, he was pulled aside for a live interview. He was still emotional, his voice trembling slightly, but he spoke from the heart. He talked about Leah, her bravery, her infectious spirit. He thanked the Patriots cheerleaders, calling their gesture one of the most incredible things I've ever witnessed. He dedicated the rest of the season to Leah and to raising awareness for childhood cancer. The interview went viral. News outlets across the country picked up the story. Social media exploded with messages of support. Donations poured into childhood cancer research organizations. Leah, unintentionally, became a symbol of hope, her story touching millions. 10 years passed. A decade filled with ups and downs, with setbacks and triumphs. Leah, after a long and arduous battle, was cancer-free. She stood tall and healthy, her eyes sparkling with life, a testament to her own strength and the unwavering love of her family. The day finally arrived. Devon and Joyce stood at the altar, surrounded by family and friends. And there, walking down the aisle, a vision in white, was Leah, their beautiful, radiant flower girl. Devon's voice caught as he began his vows. He spoke of the journey they'd been on, the challenges they'd overcome, the unwavering support they'd received. He thanked everyone who had stood by them, from the doctors and nurses to the complete strangers who had been touched by Leah's story. He looked at Joyce, his eyes filled with love and gratitude, and then at Leah, his heart swelling with pride. "Leah," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "you are a miracle. You taught us the true meaning of strength, of courage, of hope. You showed us that even in the darkest of times, love can conquer all." The room erupted in applause. Tears flowed freely, tears of joy, of relief, of celebration. Devon, Joyce, and Leah, a family forged in the crucible of adversity, stood together, united, strong, and finally, completely whole. Leah, beaming, looked up at her father, her eyes shining with love and admiration. The number 75, once a symbol of burden, was now a symbol of triumph. It was a reminder that even in the face of impossible odds, hope, love, and the support of others can make all the difference.